Morning everybody. So this morning we're going to start our build out on our 5x8 cargo trailer. One of the first things you have to do if you're going to insulate it, which you should, take down the plywood walls. That's necessary because if you're going to insulate it, you have to get behind the walls that are installed by the manufacturer. Because as of right now there's no insulation behind it. So it's just the sun beating down on the tin outside, on the aluminum outside. And if you're planning to use your cargo trailer as a camper, it's imperative that you insulate it. On this particular cargo trailer, the screws they use on the inside require a 6-bit tip to get them out. I don't have that. I can use a 4-sided, just a square bit, and it works just as well. One thing whenever you're starting to work on the inside of your cargo trailer, make sure this cargo trailer is secure. What I'm going to do is put some jacks underneath the backside and on the front side, because in our 6x10 cargo trailer build, whenever I did that, I didn't seem to have any type of issues. I guess the center of gravity was slightly different, but as soon as you step onto the back of this 5x8, it starts to pop up. So before you start on the inside, make sure the cargo trailer is properly secure. And one quick point about putting a jack under your cargo trailer, make sure you're putting it under the thicker part of your support on the frame underneath. This frame right here, the back part, is wafer thin. It's got a little crease that goes underneath on the back. It maybe gives it the appearance of being thicker, but it's not. So you want to go to the sides where you got about 1.5 inches of frame there. And so anytime you need to change a tire, provide some support for the cargo trailer with the jack, put it on the sides. Don't ever put it on the back side. Whenever you're taking your walls out, a lot of times you'll get these small pieces of Luan or just some very thin plywood. What I use this for in our 6x10 cargo trailer build was I cut these into small strips, and I used that for the flashing that attached to the ceiling. That allowed me to put the insulation up and above this, and then use this to attach my ceiling. I'll show you that once we get to that point, but you might want to just hold on to these little pieces of wood until you get to the end of the build. Now with these small pieces of plywood that they've attached to the sides up here, these are stapled in. So I'm going to use a small pry bar to get those out. The other thing is whenever you're taking out this bottom board, a lot of times, in this case, they have some silicone attached to it to the floor. If you're not worried about it and you're not going to use this board at all, just rip it out. But like I said, I'm going to try to salvage everything I can before I do it. So I'm just going to use a blade and slice it to get it away from the floor as easily as possible. And another reason you're going to take the walls off to do the insulation is you want to see what's behind the walls. You want to make sure that the interior is in good shape. If you're building this out as a camper, or like we did with our 6x10, we're going to live in it for a little bit. So we want to make sure we're comfortable. We want to make sure it's not going to leak on us. So you're taking off the wall so you can get a look on the inside to make sure there's no other issues. All right, the wood that's coming out of the walls, it may vary by manufacturer, but what I pulled out was a 1/4 inch plywood. It's not very thick, and so you can see behind it, it goes straight to the exterior wall. So that's why you need to insulate. Because if you're in the south, like we are now, it's gonna get exceedingly hot in here during the summer. If you're out west, you're gonna feel every chill from the cold outside unless you insulate. So it's extremely important to do that. And like I said before, it gives you an opportunity to look behind the wall because before you put up the insulation, before you put up your interior walls, you want to make sure there's zero issues or as few issues as possible on the inside of your trailer. Let me show you something. Okay, I removed the interior wall and I'm looking down at the front of the trailer. You can see that there's big gaps. You know, there's going to be a potential for bugs coming in. Some of these are big enough to mice can come in. And on that side, and I haven't taken that wall off yet, right there yet. But that's one of the reasons why you want to check, because you're checking every little piece in here to make sure that the connections back here are good. See the way it's dangling? I'm going to make sure that's attached to the frame. You want to make sure that everything coming in is secure. Now on the inside of the trailer, toward the back, and like I said, I'm assuming it's the same in most cargo trailers, you're going to have this small piece of tin, small piece of aluminum that they slide in here to kind of hide the wires behind there. You want to make sure you hold on to these too. Okay, we've removed all the wood, all the paneling from the inside of the cargo trailer. We've inspected the walls, make sure there's no rust. There's going to be quite a few more things we do on the inside, but I'll talk about on the next video. One thing that I did notice on this one, or I was aware of it, but I want to make sure you're aware of it too, is on this 5x8 there's no ventilation whatsoever. On our 6x10 cargo trailer, we had a ventilation hole in the upper left driver's side and one in the lower right passenger side. That allowed for airflow while we were driving and for some basic airflow while we were in it. We did install a window in our 6x10 and it worked out great. One thing we don't want to do is install anything in the ceiling. We don't want to cut into the ceiling at all. If you have any suggestions for us as far as ventilation without cutting into the ceiling, and in addition to a window, please leave it in the comments below so we can kind of consider that in the course of this build. As far as the floor plan, we've already kind of drawn out some basics about what the plan is going to be. But what we found out in our 6x10 cargo trailer build, you have to be open to changes because it may not stay the same based on where you are in the build. You may think of something else. With our cargo trailer build on the 5x8, we have plans to put in a rear kitchen galley. We're going to have build in a bed frame with storage underneath. We're going to insulate the floors, we're going to insulate the walls, we're going to insulate the ceiling. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Still got a lot more to go, but this is the first day. If you have any questions or suggestions for us, please let us know. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel and follow this build and other builds, as well as our travels, please do so. Until the next time.